The Slave and the Lion. A slave ran away from his master, by whom he had been most cruelly treated, and in order to avoid capture, he betook himself into the desert. As he wandered about in search of food and shelter, he came to a cave, which he entered and found to be unoccupied. However, it was a lion's den, and most immediately, to the horror of the wretched fugitive, the lion himself appeared. The man gave himself up for lost, but to his utter astonishment, the lion, instead of springing upon him and devouring him, came up and fawned upon him, at the same time whining and lifting up his paw. Observing it to be much swollen and inflamed, he examined it and found a large thorn embedded in the ball of the foot. He accordingly removed it and dressed the wound as well as he could, and in course of time it healed up completely. The lion's gratitude was unbounded. He looked upon the man as his friend, and they shared the cave for some time together. A day came, however, when the slave began to long for society of his fellow men, and he bade farewell to the lion and returned to the town. Here he was presently recognized and carried off in chains to his former master. He resolved to make an example of him, and ordered that he should be thrown to the beast at the next public spectacle in the theatre. On the fatal day, the beasts were loosed into the area, and among the rest a lion of huge bulk and ferocious aspect. And then the wretched slave was cast among them. What was the amazement of the spectators, when the lion, after one glance, bounded up to him and laid down at his feet with every expression of the affection and delight. It was his old friend of the cave. The audience clamoured that the slave's life should be spared, and the governor of the town, marvelling at such gratitude and fidelity in a beast, decreed that both should receive their liberty. The Flea and the Man. A flea bit a man, and bit him again and again, till he could stand it no longer, but made a thorough search for it, and at last succeeded in catching it. Holding it between his fingers and thumb, he said, or rather shouted, so angry was he, "Who are you, pray, you wretched little creature, that you make so free with my person?" The flea, terrified, whimpered in a little weak voice, "Oh, sir, pray let me go, don't kill me. I'm such a little thing, and I cannot do you much harm." But the man laughed and said, "I am going to kill you now, at once. Whatever is bad has got to be destroyed, no matter how slight the harm it does. Do not waste your pity on a scamp." The Bee and Jupiter. A queen bee from Hermetus flew up to Olympus with some fresh honey from the hive as a present to Jupiter. He was so pleased with the gift that he promised to give her anything she'd like to ask for. She said she would be very grateful if he would give stings to the bees to kill people who robbed them of their honey. Jupiter was greatly displeased with this request, for he loved mankind, but he had given his word, so he said that the stings they should have. The stings he gave them, however, were such a kind that whenever a bee stings a man, the sting is left in the wound, and the bee dies. Evil wishes, like fowls, come home to roost. The Oak and the Reeds. An oak that grew on the bank of the river was uprooted by a severe gale of wind and thrown across the stream. It fell among some reeds growing by the water and said to them, "How is it that you, who are so frail and slender, have managed to weather the storm, whereas I, with all my strength, have been torn up by the roots and hurled into the river?" "You were stubborn," come the reply, "and fought against the storm, which proved to be stronger than you. But we bow and yield every breeze, and thus the gale passed harmlessly over our heads."